Hi guys, it's Jules, and in today's tutorial we're doing this makeup look, bronzy, glowy goddess. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you all the swatches as well as my honest review on what I think of these palettes. This is the Natasha Denona Bronze Palette. Came out about 3 weeks ago. And as you can see, it's a bronze, very mirror-like finish, but it's been irritating me because literally you see every single fingerprint. It's so pretty, but it's a little bit impractical. I've been having to wipe it on my pant leg to try and get it to look decent. So these are the gorgeous colors that are in this palette. This is a very warm-toned, rusty, bronzy. There are some mattes, but there are a lot more shimmers. I think they're pretty versatile. You may be able to get pretty close to an entire eye look, but there are no brow shades. These are all more mid-tone to deep tone colors. Let me swatch them for you. These two smaller palettes are the Bronze Cheek Face Glow Palette and the Tan Bronze and Glow Palette. These are the smaller palettes. I'm going to start with the Bronze Cheek Face Glow Palette. This does have a double section that raises, I think it is to protect the cream products from the powders. I guess it's handy in a way. I did work with these. They look very pretty in the pan. I'm just not sure how they perform because on my skin tone, I'm a mid skin tone. These, you had to rub them quite a bit. I'm gonna swatch these as well. This is the Natasha Denona Tan, Bronze, and Glow palette. This one is slightly darker, but also a different tone than the Bronze Cheek palette. This has the little clear acrylic divider again. This one is, I think, a bit more versatile than the other one in my opinion, but I'll swatch everything for you now. I will link everything in the description box if it's interesting to you. So let's get into the makeup tutorial. Boo. Here's my face with only skincare and foundation and brows. So yes, a very pale, very plain face, but we're gonna transform it today into a bronzy, glowy look. I did do a look on my Instagram and a lot of you guys messaged me and asked me what colors I used. The lighting in the studio is very, very bright. My face is always pale because I wear SPF religiously all day, every day. You can see my body looks a little darker. This is a tan left over from March when I went to Miami. This is going to be a really bronzy, really beautiful look, and let's get into it. For my base makeup, I have on the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter in 4 medium, and then I have on Age Perfect Radiance Serum. This is a drugstore foundation that is really light and really radiant, which will be a really good complement to all these bronzy shades. I'm going to go in with the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion. This is the Ultra Longwear Concealer, and I'm going to just dot a little in the inner corner of my eye just to brighten it up, and then I like to just take it up this side where you have darkness around the corner of your eye, and we're just going to tap it with our finger. We just want a really light application, and we don't want this to be heavy. Just make sure you really blend that in really well with your fingers. This is a pretty thin concealer with a lot of good coverage, and it wears pretty well throughout the day. And then if you do a nose contour, you can also run that down the bridge of your nose. Just make sure you blend all of this really well. And if there are any blemishes or anything on your face where you have darkness or blemishes, just go in and put a tiny dot and just blend it all in. Make sure you cover up your imperfections. Just a little tip for blending blemishes in. Just work with the shadow, and don't just cover the blemish fully. Make sure you work with the shadows and don't put it on top, put it underneath so that it reflects the light away from your blemish. That's just a little pro tip. Okay, so we got control of our little dark areas or any blemishes. Looking pretty good. Then we're gonna take the powder and we're just gonna take a light layer and just press that into our face, mainly the parts of your face that get oily. This is not a complete coverage powder. It will only slightly mattify and it will be still pretty sheer, so that's a good one. And then we're gonna take our contour, and for our contour we're gonna use one of the shades that came in the two little face palettes. So we're going to take this bottom shade, which is from the Natasha Denona Bronze and Glow palette, the tan one, and we're gonna be using the blush and bronze powder at the bottom. We're just gonna go in with a small but still fluffy brush, and we're just gonna pick up some color, and we're gonna go around our face with this. And I'm just gonna give you a few pointers as to how to do bronzer or contour. I like to do a brontour, a combination of bronzer as well as contour. Contour is usually a little bit more cool toned and you're just really going in and chiseling out the features. And there's a lot of contrast between your skin and the contour. Bronzer is usually just when you dust your whole face with really a quick, light, more orangey or reddy tone shade so that you just warm up the face. So I like to do a combination of this, and my forehead is quite large, so I like to go in and I like to contour the top just to shorten my face a little bit. You can generally use the 3-finger rule. Take your fingers to your eyebrows, and wherever that top finger hits is where you want to apply the bronzer above it. So if you have a really short forehead, you don't need the contour at the top. And if you have a really wide face, the idea is that you want to put some shading on the sides so that you can try and narrow. I have a very round face, so for me, contour is really good because it kind of brings all the sides of my face in visually anyway. And so we're just going to continue that on the side of my face. I like to keep it off of my highlight area just around my eye because I like to keep that a little light so I can pop my highlight there after. But for the combination bronzer and contouring, you just want to bring it a little bit. You're going to contour it closely to the areas that you want to darken up, but then you want to bring whatever's remaining on your brush up to the rest of your skin. That's kind of the key to a combination bronzer contour look. As you can see, the color is warming up, and I like to do a little on my chin as well. And if you just take a couple of extra minutes, this will really make your look pop. And then, so our cheekbone, when we purse it like this, traditionally that's where we're going to put the line. I like to do a little more scooping motion when I'm doing a more bronzy, so I scoop out the bottom, and I like to take it up to the hairline. And I'm just gonna and blend out the edges so that it is a very soft contour. As you can see, I do the cheek, then I take whatever's remaining on my brush and I pull that through, down, warming it up and kind of warming up the rest of my skin, if you can see. So you can see the side that I did is starting to match more my body color, which looks really good. And you can see compared to the side that I didn't do, it looks a lot more shaped and snatched. So then we're gonna go ahead and do this side, same idea. And we're just doing the same thing. We're taking it under, just really softly under the shadow of our cheek. We're not doing anything majorly harsh though, but we are blending the edges and making the line really diffuse around it. Of course, when you do this at home, you won't be looking awkwardly into the mirror and looking down, so it'll be a better result for you. Okay, so you can see my face is definitely warmed up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a smaller brush, a more fluffier, smaller brush, and we're just going to pop this same color down the sides of our nose. So we're going to pick up a little bit and just work it into the side of our nose, and we're just roughly taking that down all the way. So you can just apply kind of soft pressure so it doesn't get too harsh, and then blend out the edges. This is why you want a smaller brush, since this area is a lot smaller. So that's one half, and then do the same thing on the other half of your nose. And then I like to bring a little bronzer to the bottom, to the very tip of my nose, and just round it out. I find that this just makes my nose look like it's a little more pert, a little more cute, and you're gonna have to play around because everybody's nose is a slightly different shape. So I just have learned through trial and error that this particular shape works really well for my particular nose. And I just like to go in and just create a little shadow. My eyes are not very deep set, so I like to create a lot of shadow where my eyes are. And also too, at the very end, I like to go across the bridge. I like to go across the top of my nose, as well as above the ball of the nose. So it just warms it up, and we're gonna run our finger down it so that it just blends it in. It looks a little crazy because I don't have the rest of my eye makeup on, but you'll see as I go along how this will blend right in. So we're gonna take some more of that product and just blend it over the entire eye. So we're not working too far past the end of our eye. We're concentrating it on the lid, but letting it just diffuse slightly past the contour line. I am a huge fan of a cut crease, but today we're just going for a more soft and diffused look. So we're gonna go in with another color to do that after, but for now, this is a really good way to get some depth in your eye sockets. If you have a really deep set eye, you do not have to go in and do this because it will probably look like a black eye. Some people's eyes it's gonna depend on your particular eye shape. If you do have more deep set eyes, I would just take a little bit of this in a smaller brush and I would pop it above your crease, more on the hooded part of your eye. That will definitely work out better for you. I will do another video if you guys want on the optimum ways to contour eyes as well as cheeks and as well as your face. Subscribe for more makeup tips and content if that's something you guys are interested in. So after you've done this, you can see my eyes and my face have definitely gotten a little more shape. So what we're gonna do at this point is we're gonna get some blush in the Bronze Cheek palette. It's called Bronze Cheek, but there's no actual bronze cheek color. I mean, there's a super glow bronze. I mean, let's try that. I mean, I'm curious. Maybe this will work. It's very gold. Actually, you know what? Maybe I spoke too soon. That might be okay. It is a very, very bronze look, if you can see. It's a very bronzy, very glowy look. So if you are not into glowy, bronzy blushes, then there will not be a shade in here that works for you, but for the glowy bronze look that we're going for, the super summer glowy look, this is gonna be okay. So that worked out. And then whatever's left on my brush, I always swirl it over the top of my nose, I want it to look like I've been in the sun and sun-kissed. And I like to blend it on the side where we placed our contour bronzer. So you can see it's getting really glowy. I'm turning into a roast chicken. I love it. I'm looking like a roast chicken, but you know, roast chicken's delicious. Okay, so once we've done that, so we've gone in and we've done our blush, and we're gonna go in and then now place our highlighter. So we're gonna take a highlighter brush, whatever kind you like, whether it's a fan brush or a light diffuse brush like this. We're gonna go in, and there is a color here called Glow Impact Powder, and we're gonna just see how that color works for the top of our cheek. And we're gonna have to really, it is not that pigmented, but that can definitely go over our cheek and up our temple. I'm gonna go on this side as well. So you can see I'm looking a little crazy because without the balance of the eye makeup, this just looks like I went through a fryer. I mean, that's the whole idea, right? That we basically can get a very glowy look, and it can work with, it looks like we spent the whole day in the garden or at the beach. And so let's go in with our eye pencil. So these little eyeshadow brushes are my absolute favorite. I bought them at Walmart. They're the Equate Beauty Crease Blending Eyeshadow Brush, and they are just, they're literally better than any high-end brush I've ever encountered, because they, as you can see, they are very soft, but they do have a slight pointed part at the top of the brush, and that really helps you to do a more blended look, or you can go in more precisely because of that little soft tip. They're amazing. And anytime I say something, it gets sold out, but I definitely do want to share it with you still, even if you guys are going to go out and I'm not going to be able to find them for months because you bought them all. So we're going to take this brush. So we're going to go into the bronze palette now. So you can see it's very pretty. A lot of different deep tones that I think not would just be good for summer. This palette's going to transition really well into the fall, and I do love that. We're going to take the color called Sundown, and we're just going to pop that into the inner corner of our eye, obviously on both sides. And then on this side as well, take that, you're only going to take that halfway, and we're going to take it up to the crease. This is just going to bring a lot of warmth. So this color is almost like it's a good name for it. It is Sundown. It's very toasty and very warm. So once we've done that, I just wipe off my brush tip on a tissue, and I'm going to go into this color called Suntan, and I'm just going to coat the end. I'm going to coat more the end of the brush, and we're going to start at the, I like to start at the corner of the outer part of my eye, and we're just basically doing a soft crease. We're going to follow the crease of our eye all the way across. And of course, just make sure you really blend that in really, really well. You can see the eye is getting a lot more dimension. And depending on how your eye crease is, I have a fairly wide lid space, so I can bring mine up quite a bit. But if you have a more deep set eye or closer space, start with a little and add more, and just try the look until you get one that you're happy with. every eye is going to be different and everybody is going to have different preferences for how they like their shadow look, but this just blended that in softly and it just is a really good soft look, but very burnt orange, and it's looking really pretty. And as you can see, I'm wearing a top that's the same color, so this is always a good look with gold earrings and complementary tones in your clothing. This can really warm up and complement your outfit or your accessories. It's a little tip. So I'm going to keep the eye makeup pretty simple. So I'm just going to go in again and wipe I'm using the same brush, if you've noticed. I don't like to mess up 10 different brushes. If I'm going out on a special occasion, then yes, I will go in with more precise and different types of shader brushes. But on an everyday, I'm just using the one and I'm wiping it between all the different shades. Once we've done that, we're gonna go into this color, which is called Magma. And we're just gonna take a tiny bit on the tip of our brush and we're just gonna run that and diffuse it onto the very bottom of our lid and just connect it at the side and just blend it softly. Don't go up all the way on your lid, just try and diffuse it and blend it near the bottom just to give your eye a bit more dimension. Especially if you're like me and you have Asian eyes, this is a good step because it just gives a little more depth and dimension to your eye. And then just take it. Okay. And then just look in the mirror and play around until you get the depth that you want. And if you need to dip back in just to intensify certain areas, that's okay too. No one's judging you. This is your eye, your look. And then I just like to run whatever is left on my brush and just marry all those shades. I like to do that because it just gives a really soft diffused look along the entire lid. So then we're gonna go in with the final step on the eye look. This is the Marc Jacobs Highliner Gel Liner. And we're just gonna go in and we're going to line our eye. So I like to start at the inner corner and I always like to do it a little bit of a cat eye. So I bring the line from the top down a little, and I like to make it look like my eye comes in further than it does. It's just the illusion that it's a little bit sharper. If you have huge giant eyes, you probably don't need to do this. You can just line your eyes. And then I go to the outer corner and I just take it up towards my temple on the outer edge of where I put the shadow earlier, and do the same on the other eye. This is a brown pencil, so it really complements those rust tones, those sunset tones really well. And then I like to do a cut crease. So what this means is at this point I will go in and I will softly chisel out my eyelid line. You don't have to do this if you have a massive large eyelid. I just find it is really good because it just defines the whole look. And then I like to run my fingers across it just to soften up that pencil. So this is just like in grade school when you used to color something and you just go in and outline it with that darker black or brown line after, and it just made it look so much more pulled together, didn't it? So we're going to blend it really softly with your finger I mean, your finger is an awesome tool. It is definitely underrated. And then, so at this point, you can go in with your brush and just softly diffuse all of that out if you like, and that will just soften the look, or you can just keep it the way it is over here, which is a little bit more bold. But I like to go in with the brush and just soften everything up. This just makes the eye look a little more dimensioned. And as you can see, the colors are so pretty. If at this point you're just gonna wear mascara, you can definitely just go in and use a eyelash curler. I always use one. If you're the blessed few that have those long curly lashes, then just go ahead and pop some mascara on, but I always need to curl this. It looks like some medieval. But as you can see, I'm pumping the mascara wand. This always works better, and I like to leave it on for about 20 seconds. And then you can see it's a lot more lifted. And then this is definitely my favorite drugstore mascara. This is the L'Oreal Unlimited Mascara. You can bend the wand to get, I don't really use that like that, but you definitely could. So I like to go in 2 layers of this mascara. So it always helps to look down at your mirror. Just take the time to evenly coat everything. You want 2 thin layers rather than 1 really, really thick layer. And you get a little on your eyelid, that is fine, just wipe it away. You know, in case you do want to see how I do my eyebrows and my false lashes, I do have tutorials. I will link them right here. Then we're going to go in and do our other eye. Try and get in as close. And I always like to press it and then clamp it. And again, I like to do the pump. This is the eyelash pump. Where you pump it out for about 20 seconds. This is always really helpful. This helps a lot. Probably looks a little crazy to some people that are not used to it, but so we're gonna go in and do this eye. Again, just really thin layer. And this is the tedious part, but I find if you just take an extra few seconds to do your mascara, it just really, that extra little attention makes the biggest difference. So I go in once that is dry, and I just like to do another coat. So if you want to do your lower eyelashes, I like to just go in and do it really softly. I don't do 2 coats on the bottom lashes. If mascara is your last step, then that is the finished look. I'm gonna pop on a set of false lashes if you want to see that. I'm gonna pop up the tutorial right here. I'll be right back. So this is the biggest difference putting on lashes, as you can tell. Looks so much more polished. They pull together the look. I definitely will be reaching for this palette a lot more. Like, I can definitely see that in the fall, like these colors here, like Rhodium and Deep Dive, those are gonna be fantastic, like neutral dark colors that you could wear with like a really nude lip. And I think that with all these shimmers, you could get some really nice, you know, holiday looks with the magma and all these warm burnt colors. You could get really good fall looks. So I think that this palette, this Natasha Denona palette, is probably worth the money. If you especially didn't have a lot of bronze colors in your collection, I think that's a good bet. These two, on the other hand, these two, I'm not so sure that, I think that you can definitely find highlighters and cheek colors that definitely will have more pigment and a lot more color payoff. I found them a little chalky and also a little bit too compact. I had to really go in and rub them to get a little bit of a payoff. So I don't know if they're worth the money. So if you are a diehard Natasha Denona fan, I think these maybe would be worth it, but I think your money's worth is in the palette. So Natasha Denona on the website recommends a few of their Lipophoria lip balms. I do not own any of them. So I pulled a couple of lip products from my collection that I think would look really good with this makeup look. So this is the Sephora Rouge Gel Lip Liner in 27 Knock on Wood. And this one is the Pat McGrath Lush Gloss in Bronze Temptation. I think that these will work just as well, so we're gonna pop them on now. And that just makes it really glowy. And we just feel really pulled together, really good. It's a really bronzy, glowy summer look that's gonna go really great with a lot of different outfits and a lot of different styles. With this soft curl look, I did do a tutorial on this curl look. I will link it right here. If you're looking for a look that's bronzy, glowy, goddess-like, this is your look. So I hope those swatches as well as the makeup tutorial was helpful, and I hope you try it, and please let me know how it goes. Please share with any of your friends that might like it. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next time. This is Mimosa. She's bronze, so bronzy. Mimi, will you share your bronzy, glowy look with us? Oh, okay, okay. Oh, okay. She doesn't want to tell us.